Swedish pop sensation Robyn, with a Y, first tested the waters at the start of her music career at home and achieved success before going international. She actually began recording and performing on a professional level long before she could even legally drive or vote. Everything she touched turned to gold until the typical trials and tribulations that life is full of took her out of the spotlight and into therapy on a journey back to finding happiness. Let's find out whatever happened to Swedish singer-songwriter Robyn. Robyn Miriam Karlsson was born in Sweden in the capital city of Stockholm on June 12, 1979. Her parents were part of an experimental theater group that they became involved with before she was born. When she was only 6 months old, she began going on tour with them. Robyn began her professional career at the age of 9 when she landed a role in a play. She then went on to do voice work for an animated film and started writing her own songs. The first song she ever wrote was about her parents' divorce that was happening at the time. Over the next several years, she would record and perform whenever the opportunity presented itself. One day, her talent was duly noted by a national pop singer who just happened to be visiting her school. She was so impressed by Robyn that she set up a meeting between her management, Robyn, and of course, Robyn's parents. After all, she was only 14 at the time. She ended up signing a record deal with a local Swedish independent label that was later acquired by BMG. Her debut single called You've Got That Something was released in 1995 and was quickly followed up by the song that would be her breakthrough hit and reach the top 10 in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, the hip-hop influenced track, Do You Really Want Me? Show Respect. Look out world, Robyn is here. And that's exactly what she chose to name her debut album, released that year in Sweden and internationally 2 years later. Now it was time to branch out and try to conquer other international markets. And that she did. Her US debut single, Do You Know What It Takes, made it all the way to number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and also charted in Canada and Australia. It was quickly followed by another hit, Show Me Love, not to be confused with the 1993 house hit of the same name by another artist of the same name, Robyn S. After all that success, Robyn wasn't heard from again for 10 years. Well, not really. She wasn't heard from outside of Sweden. Her follow-up album, released 4 years later, titled My Truth, as well as her third effort 3 years after that, called Don't Stop the Music, were only released in Sweden. It all started when Robyn refused to make the necessary changes that RCA Records requested after realizing that some of the lyrics in 2 of the songs on My Truth, co-written by Robyn herself, touched on her experience having an abortion as a teen. Also, at the time, American recording artists Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera were having tremendous success sticking to the typical pop star template, so the label thought it wouldn't be sensible to do anything else. As a result, the label canceled plans to release it internationally. Interestingly, Robyn was approached by Jive Records, the label Britney would end up signing with at the start of her career. She rejected their offer. So, if they couldn't have Robyn, their next plan of action was to create another one just like her. They shifted all of their focus to Britney. The head of the label even called her, quote, an American Robyn. To make the process that much easier, they tapped Swedish singer, songwriter, and producer Max Martin, who co-wrote several of Robyn's hits, to work his magic on Britney. And did he ever, by writing and producing her breakout hit, Baby One More Time. Robyn would eventually make her way back to Jive when she signed a worldwide deal with them in 2001, only for the company to be bought back by BMG, the label she left them for. The process of making Don't Stop the Music was not an enjoyable one. She reunited with producer Max Martin for the project, but they clearly had very different visions and butted heads a lot. She was so disillusioned, exhausted, and frustrated with everything that she considered walking away from music altogether. Also around this time, Robyn began dating Swedish MMA fighter Olof Inger. They would become engaged and stay engaged for the next 9 years. After her less than stellar experiences working on her last 2 albums, Robyn decided in 2005 that it was time to liberate herself artistically and create her own label called Konnichiwa Records. It was now or never, since she knew that the vision she had for her next project was going to be something that she probably wouldn't be able to pull off under a major label. She dropped that project that same year. It was her 4th studio album and the first to finally be released outside of Sweden, simply titled Robyn. Her next project, or projects, would be something highly unusual. In 2010, she would release a trio of dance pop LPs within that 1 year. The first installment, Body Talk Part 1, spoke to feelings of loneliness. She switched things up for Body Talk Part 2, which is much faster, harder, and clubbier. Body Talk, or Body Talk Part 3, ended up being more of a mix of a studio and compilation album, complete with the best songs from the first 2 albums in the series, plus several new songs. She went on to have her first performance on Saturday Night Live, light up the MTV Music Video Awards, and share the stage with the likes of Katy Perry and Coldplay. Just when it seemed that things were going really well, Robyn would disappear and not be heard from again for the next 8 years. In this time, she would become engaged again to videographer Max Vitali, whom she met while working on her music video for a song off her Robyn album. She would then go through a very dark period and collect another broken engagement under her belt when they separated. During the year to follow, she plunged into a deep depression, and there were many days when she didn't get out of bed. She ultimately found solace in therapy that became a staple in her life for 6 years. Eventually, she would begin writing and recording songs again, but not before another major heartbreak. Her friend, Swedish record producer and musician Christian Falk, passed away after a battle with pancreatic cancer. Robyn had worked with him since her debut album, and he had become a great mentor. After a 2-year separation, Robyn and Max would reconcile in 2018. She came back from her hiatus in October of that year with her 8th and last album to date, titled Honey. The first single, perfectly called Missing You, is about losing Max and Christian. In an interview with NME.com, Robyn spoke about her feelings while recording the album, saying, "The more I enjoy my life, the more I'm scared to lose it. The more you feel it, the more it slips out of your hands. That's painful when you realize that's what it's like to be a human being. We're limited, both physically, because of our bodies, but also the length of our lives. They're not forever." Robyn surprised her fans in the summer of 2020 by sharing a 20-second clip of a song on her Twitter with the caption 5/8, or August 5th, not May 8th like her American fans thought. The song, called Impact, is by UK singer S.G. Lewis, featuring Robyn and American rapper Channel Tress. It was digitally released on all streaming platforms that day. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you won't miss any future videos. See you next time!